What's a school rumor you heard as a kid that turned out to be true years later? I grew up in the kind of small town where secrets never stayed buried for long, but somehow, one rumor haunted our school for years, that the old gym teacher, Coach Harris, was hiding something in the locked equipment room. The story went that if you got sent there alone, you'd come back changed, quieter, jumpier, like you'd seen a ghost. Most of us laughed it off, but the list of kids who'd transferred or suddenly quit sports kept growing, and every year, the legend got darker. I was always the smallest kid in my grade, barely 5 feet tall, with wrists like pencils and a voice that cracked every time I tried to speak up in class. I wasn't a troublemaker, but I was invisible, which in middle school is its own kind of curse. My mom worked 2 jobs, so I stayed late for basketball practice, hoping I'd finally make varsity and get noticed for something other than being easy to overlook. Coach Harris ran the gym like a drill sergeant. He had this way of looking at you that made you feel like you were shrinking. If you missed a shot, he'd bark, "Again," loud enough to rattle the windows. But he never yelled at the star players, only at kids like me, the ones who couldn't push back. The first time I heard my name called for equipment duty, my stomach dropped. Everyone in the locker room went silent. Even the seniors, who usually lived to mess with the freshmen, just stared at their shoes. I tried to laugh it off, but my hands were shaking so badly I could barely tie my sneakers. Coach handed me the keys with a look that said, "Don't ask questions." The equipment room was at the end of a dark hallway, past the trophy case full of dust and forgotten victory. The door creaked open, and the smell hit me first. Old sweat, bleach, and something sour, like spoiled milk. The light flickered overhead as I stepped inside, heart pounding so hard I thought I'd faint. Inside, it was worse than I imagined. Broken bats, deflated balls, and a pile of uniforms no one had worn in years. In the corner, a stack of cardboard boxes was taped shut, each labeled with a year and a name. Some of the names I recognized. Kids who'd left school without a word, whose lockers had been cleaned out overnight. I was supposed to sweep, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened the top box and found a collection of letters, all written in shaky handwriting. Most started the same way. "Dear Mom, I'm sorry." My throat tightened as I read. They were apologies, confessions, desperate pleas to be picked up early or allowed to quit the team. Some talked about extra practices and punishments that never made it onto the schedule. Suddenly, the door slammed behind me. Coach Harris's shadow filled the doorway. "Find what you were looking for?" he asked, voice cold as ice. My mind raced. I shoved the letters back and tried to act normal, but he stepped closer, blocking the only exit. "You kids think you're clever, but you don't know what it takes to win," he sneered. "Weakness gets you nowhere." He made me run laps in the dark for an hour, barking insults every time I slowed down. When I finally stumbled out, legs shaking, he leaned in and whispered, "Tell anyone and you'll regret it." I didn't tell. Not then. I kept my head down, finished the season, and transferred schools the next year, but the rumor never left me. Every time I saw a new name disappear from the roster, I wondered if they'd found the boxes too. Years later, I came back to town for my little brother's graduation. The school was buzzing. Coach Harris had been suspended, pending an investigation. Someone had finally talked.